So today we are going to talk about our patient. He's our lead character. He's 19, he skateboards, he's a little bit reckless, troubled home life. He has a lot of physical and mental ailments. I think the reason that this patient, his name is Dogan, is going to be relatable is because anybody who's ever had something wrong with them or told that there's something wrong with them or was in constant pain that just kept them from feeling normal and from fitting in and from just being able to live their life comfortably, peacefully, and happily. I think Dogan really encompasses all of that. And he doesn't deal with it in the best way. He can be very self-destructive. I think that in this series he is going to see some other perspectives and hopefully learn to overcome that. Anybody who's suffered from really anything has probably heard people who do not have that same problem tell them things like, oh, don't be depressed, cheer up. Or, like, well, things could be worse. At least you can still walk. There's just all these things that people try to tell you to cheer you up. It's true, like, we should all be thankful that things aren't worse for us, but that doesn't mean that it feels better hearing that. Sometimes you just want someone to understand. Sometimes you feel really limited by your ailments, and that's kind of what the story is about. It's not going to be a cure for anything, but hopefully it feels like a warm hug from somebody who just wants you to feel heard and understand, and that's what our patient Dogan represents. Today we are going to talk about our other protagonist. She's a receptionist. She's kind of that favorite coworker, always funny. She'll probably do something that will get you both in trouble at work, and you kind of just don't mind because you're going to have so much fun. I'm pretty sure you will fall in love with this character. So let's hope she survives. Alright, so if any of you are wondering why this comic, why now, and why you should contribute. For one thing, I think it's a fun, cool little story. It is a horror comic. It has some dramatic moments, lots of comedy moments. It should feel very cinematic. The artist is just brilliant. And look at the amazing sketches he does. Like, you just see him get started and this turns this blank page into a masterpiece. So if you want to get in on the ground level, get some of his early work, they might be worth some money later on down the line. So contribute, get yourself a copy, click that link. We really want to make this comic while the world is still standing and things can still be enjoyed. I think it's going to bring people a nice laugh. I think they're going to think it's funny. I think it's creepy. I think it's going to be fun. It's our goal. Speaking of goals, we might not meet our goal for funding the entire series. That's okay, because I understand money is tight for a lot of people. I know it is for me, or I would just fund the whole damn thing myself right now. Even if we just get a couple thousand, a few thousand, hopefully at least 4,000 to 6,000, it'll still put a dent in the bill I will have to pay for all of the art and all of that stuff. Really, anything helps, and I do appreciate everything that everybody has contributed so far. We have some fun perks. If you're a screenwriter, if you're earlier on in your career, all the way to a professional. If you just want to get some eyes on your scripts, we do have some script services available from Fade In to Fade Out. Their script services and education company. I think what's different about this project from other zombie comics is that this one is not as big picture as some of the other ones. The starvation, people in your group that you can't trust who try to kill you, and those all still matter in this series, but the focus is more on the internal struggles of someone like our patient who has a lot of mental and physical ailments, and he has to try to relate to somebody, tries to process things differently than him, and they're trying to look for some common ground because they really need to depend on each other if they're going to survive everything that's going on externally. Some of the themes that we address in this comic are: is it better to live through suffering or hope to die and find peace? Is being a prescription drug zombie better than being a literal zombie? When you don't have a reason to live, is it too late to find one? I think their psychological and emotional growth is just as important as surviving the zombies and the bloody zombie action that is also to follow. Of course, I do love all of the pages, but this one I like especially because it does a lot of things from beginning to end. On the previous page, we have our patient come in and approach the receptionist and try to give his information, but it's a little difficult for him because he's immediately attracted to the receptionist. And he's very awkward, and he has anxiety on top of a million other problems. She asks if he has insurance, and he does not. Our receptionist asks him if he's been getting by with his looks all this time. Well, we're just getting to know this receptionist, and we don't really know anything about her. This is kind of her first appearance, but we do kind of wonder, like, hey, what is her sense of humor? Is she flirting back with him? Is she being sarcastic? Is she just playfully flirtatious? It is the latter. So we have our patient admitting that he's on Medicaid. The receptionist kind of just, she gets back into business mode, tells him to go and have a seat, fill out the paperwork, and someone will call him back shortly. And she tells him to circle all of the medical conditions. So we get to panel 4, and our patient says they're all medical conditions. Now, obviously, they're just having this little battle over semantics. He thinks he's charming and flirtatious. You can tell that she, in panel 5, thinks he's obnoxious. So we can tell right away these two don't have the same senses of humor. That's going to create some conflict later on when they are kind of trapped together and have to depend on one another. But this is just their kind of introduction to each other. So then we move on to panel 6. And by the way, like, I love the way the art just kind of captures the emotions, like our patient's awkwardness and the receptionist's glare just kind of speaks volumes. There's no need for dialogue in a panel like that. And then we have panel 6, which is our patient going to sit down to fill out his paperwork. And we have this ding in the background. It's very subtle, and it shows that the elevator is about to open. And this is pretty much where the story is about to unfold. So if you want to see what happens, you got to flip to page 7. And if you want to see page 7, it's really easy. We just have to fund this comic book so that it gets made, and you can see how these characters continue on.